Welcome back to the Digelysium. This is your host, ChoppedStix. It is a brand new year and we have a brand new set of horror installed for you. Now, I hope you brought those tokens because we're about to start the show. Tonight, we're going to be reviewing a game that has been a huge influence in the world of YouTube and gave a lot of YouTubers, gamers specifically, their start. Five Nights at Freddy's is the game. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this whole deal because the whole new Five Nights at Freddy's security breach came out recently and it's been doing a huge uproar in the known world of YouTube. So like I said, I'm gonna start with this. I absolutely hate Five Nights at Freddy's. I have never thought it was horror and I never will. The original games were just all jump scare. There was no real build up to anything, no story. Well, okay, maybe there was a story, and the slight tension buildup is not true buildup of horror. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you can fight me on that. I'll be glad to argue in the comments. Now, let's get back to it. They've decided to change Five Nights at Freddy's just a smidge in this new game. They have turned Five Nights at Freddy's into Jim and the Holograms, or as I like to call it, Fur and the Robots. Not really. That was actually a pretty bad joke. But you'll get this concept because if you watch the opening animation to it, it is a really good opening animation. It shows Freddy Fazbear and his crew playing in a band, doing their show at the very beginning in their pizzeria thing, I believe is what it's called. So from there, you see Freddy going nutso, and not nutso as in he's going to kill people, as in he's breaking down. There's something wrong with his mechanical features. So you start by playing as a kid who's actually snuck himself inside of Freddy Fazbear to sneak into this pizzeria at the after hours of the show, which is kind of weird that, you know, maintenance never caught a kid crawling inside of Freddy's chest, because honestly, you think before every show they would make sure that the bots are perfectly fine, and the fact that his chest cavity is only for party gifts and cake. So a small child being inside is kind of weird. And you also kind of think it's a little weird that Freddy himself did not notice that there was something inside of him that was moving around. Come on. That was living. That wasn't a cake or a present, you know, before he did his show. But that's whatever. So you're playing this kid named Gregory, and Gregory is sneaking around. No one knows why he's sneaking around. He's doing a thing, but yet he decides to tell Freddy that, you know, the security guard Vanessa is after him, and that she's a bad person, and that there's stuff wrong, and all the robots were out to get him, which is kind of weird. And then Freddy's got this, you know, savior complex going on, which, what? Freddy not killing you and he wants to save your life? That's a little weird and different from all the original games, but you know, whatever. Let's go with this. Okay, it's a different take. I understand. Let's keep rolling with the ball on that. So from there, you have to do various objects to sneak around this entire area throughout the game. They have several levels, and the levels are well done. I like, for the most part, from what I've seen, what the levels look like. The animation's great, the design quality is great, the characters are great as far as the 3D models go. There are some glitches here and there with Freddy himself, of course, but no, I'm talking about real game glitches, as in there'll be parts of the game where Freddy glitches out, there'll be some parts of the game where you're supposed to hide in several different parts of the game that they've allowed you, like a trash can or a photo booth, but yet you're still going to get caught because apparently they can sense you, even though your meter is blue, blue meaning that you're safe, red meaning that, hey, you made too much noise. But from there, the other issue I have with this game is who in their right mind thought about keeping security cards? Now, these security cards get you in from different levels of the game, which access like security areas. Get it? Security breach. Okay. But seriously, who thought it was the right idea to take these security cards and put them in presents? Presents that are like Jack in the Box. Really? I mean, come on. Seriously, who's going to keep a high-class security card for that inside of a random present that's always going to be around at some point, and it's just like, oh, here it is, and not at a guard station, or here it is, and not on a killer robot that I'm supposed to steal it from, or something like that. That's a huge missed opportunity, by the way. And honestly, this entire game is... It's lackluster. It doesn't even have the good jump scare portion of the game, meaning that, yeah, when they spot you and they grab you, it's not even scary as far as a jump scare. It doesn't even make you lunge back. It's like, oh, it's loud and shaky face of a robot, that kind of thing. It's very... They're reaching way too hard. What another thing I really like about the game is that they gave a ode to the original games. Like, there's a couple missions where you actually have to sit in the security booth and do the original game, basically, and survive until Freddy comes and saves you. Again, I don't know why Freddy's the one saving you. It's kind of weird, and it doesn't make sense. You also get to find out that the robots have kind of a backstory. Not all of them are as perfect as we thought they are as the beginning. Freddy's not the only one with issues. As you deep dive and collect lore throughout the game actually tells you that, hey, just because these robots have some upgrades that are really cool, and by the way, Freddy's the only one that never got an upgrade. Go figure. Weird. But these upgrades that they get, they also have some backlash to what they do. Like Foxy, oh my god, Foxy, yes, the wolf, and I mean she is a wolf. Ooh, no, I'm not a furry. I'm just kidding. It should be a crime how hot that robot is. Gonna turn a bunch of people into furries. Anyways, just kidding. No, Foxy has like a complex where she talks to herself and other robots because she can see through walls, and she just sits there and talks to herself like she has like a disorder where she's not good enough and she's terrible, but she tries to pep herself up saying that she's the best. That kind of issue. The chicken, I can't think of her name, Chica, yes, the chicken, she eats trash. Yeah, they have like a scene where one of the spots that you pick up random piece of notes that say, hey, the entire area and engineers have been complaining about Chica randomly eating everything, and you actually run into her eating garbage from a bathroom or from random, disposal units. Yeah, she'll like completely binge like she's got an obese disorder, or not an obese disorder, a eating disorder is what I wanted to say. My bad. And of course, you got Monty the Crocodile, which, he's got this I'm too cool look for you with sunglasses, which, whatever. The issue I have with all these robots on chase scenes is that they'll chase you, but there are parts in the game where you don't even need to run. Your character can walk faster than them. The boss fights are pretty bad. Yeah, they're like carnival game style boss fights because, what they do is basically a pizzeria style game fight. Those fights are really bad because the game doesn't even give you a clue or a small start of what you have an objective on how to beat the bosses. You could be captured 50 times before you actually look over and go, oh my god, I was supposed to do this the entire time. Yeah, it's pretty bad. The other issue I have is that, there'll be glitches to where if you're looking for a certain item, that item may never spawn and you have to reload, but when you reload, it's back to a boss fight that you already beat, even though you saved before. That's a minor glitch that people have run into. Not a lot of people have run into that. Again, the only scary thing in this entire game that I'll call it scary, because, I don't believe this game is scary at all, or count as horror, but the only thing I count that is, there's a daycare center, and in that daycare center, there's a sun guy who has like a multiple personality complex, where he turns into a moon if you turn out the lights. But as the sun guy, he's just crazy, like, carnival clown thing that's creepy as hell. And I don't know whose idea was to stick this guy with a bunch of kids that are in a daycare center, for God's sake. Yeah, I'd be suing too if I was some parent. But if you turn out those lights, he will definitely make sure your kids try to sleep, because the moon wants everyone to go night-night. And they explain, because in one of the backlores of it, they've got sued by several parents because their kids can no longer sleep at night. They always have to keep that light on, because if they don't, Mr. Moon will come out and try to make them sleep forever, which is creepy as hell. Like I said, it has like the It the Clown complex, which is kind of weird. You have several like guard bots that are just around that'll make noise if you walk up to them, and they'll alert the guard, or like they'll alert Foxy. Foxy, she randomly like appears out of nowhere to chase you and capture you, and she'll call you a loser and a bunch of other stuff, like she's a high school punk. I don't know. Yeah, that kind of thing. There's this huge psychological thing with the game, now that I notice it. Like, it plays on a whole bunch of, like, aspects of, like, what would happen if you're a teenage kid in high school these days, or, like, you're a middle school child, that kind of thing. Or a kid just in general getting beat up in school, by bullies, that kind of stuff. Or having a bad family moment. But anyways, you're this kid trying to escape, and like, you got Freddy Fazbear helping you out, but he's being dopey and he's kind of weak. You can hide in his chest, and if you're walking around as Freddy, guess what? No one's gonna question it. They're just like, oh, hey, Freddy, even though you're supposed to be in decommission, but still, they'll let you walk around like it's nothing. He has a Fazbear watch as a communicator between him and the child, and he's constantly saying the kid's name, Gregory, over it, even though all the other robots can hear it, which doesn't make sense that no one still thinks Freddy is helping this kid out. Until there's a scene where Vanessa actually captures the kid and, yells at Freddy for it and says, Freddy, I know you've been doing it. Yet she lets Freddy go. Yeah, I mean, granted, she takes his head off and you have to reassemble, and then you go on a murdering spree of his friends, and he just doesn't question that you murdered his friends. He's just like, oh, damn, where did you get those parts from to upgrade me and make me all cool and shit? And you're just like, yeah, haha, I just found them, haha, but you murdered his friends when you said you were going to, and he kind of just throws it out. Freddy is actually kind of dumb, as I think about this. He's really, really dumb. There's a random bunny rabbit that used to be a thing, and you get to find out that, which I'm not going to spoil because there's a huge thing with that. It's back lore and a huge part of the game. So you guys will have to actually play this game or go and do what I did and do your research to find out, because I'm not spoiling that, even though the game's been out for a while. The biggest thing is like, I see a lot of YouTubers going back to this game. Going to this game to go back to old memories of the original Five Nights at Freddy's. And that's fine and dandy. That's cool. I love when people do that. But my biggest problem is like, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, and I apologize. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying that, hey, you're reaching a little bit too hard when you're doing your jump scare screams, because there's not even a 5-year-old would jump on this game. This game is so bad at like the scare factor that kids would just be like, what? Go make me some macaroni or something. You know, that kind of thing. All in all, I would rather spend time watching Nicolas Cage fight a whole bunch of killer robots and then do his duty cleaning an old pizzeria just like this. This makes Chuck E. Cheese look like a fun place to be at. Yeah, okay, I made some bad jokes. But anyways, the biggest thing is that's all I got for this game. It is not scary. If you like Five Nights at Freddy's, please go and check it out. Give it a shot. It's on Steam. I personally can't do it. I'd rather play Poppy's Playtime instead because, God, that thing is scary as hell. But yeah, that's me. If you like what I do and if you like what I've said, hit me up in the comments. I always try to comment back. But I'm signing out. Until next time, kids, make sure you bring those tokens. Have a good night.